Hi everyone. Today Salesforce Consulting Admin Training Day 17. Let's see what are we going to learn today. So today's agenda is quick overview of the previous session. Then we'll talk about how to share multiple records, what is a public group, navigation steps to create a public group, use case, automated sharing roles, and then navigation steps to create a sharing rules. What are the requirements? How can we implement a sharing role? And what is a sharing mechanism? Apex sharing, how to do the Apex sharing, and what are the scenarios? And then we will talk about the OWD private, OWD public read only, OWD public read write. And then finally we'll discuss about the OWD conclusion. And then we'll have a quiz, homework, today's interview questions. Now quickly, what did we learn in last class?
OWD,
OWD,
differences
OWD navigation,
and
OWD private,
sharing mechanism,
manual
sharing,
rule and subordinates,
manual
and
sharing.
access.
Right. So today we are going to see few more. So last class we have seen the sharing mechanism, how to do manually. So we had created a OWD level. We had set it as a private for the account. And then we created it by using the manual sharing. So how can we do the manual sharing? By clicking on the button called sharing button on the account object. So when we click on this button, we'll have a level of access, whether we should be giving the read-only access or read-write. And then we can select whether the single user or a multiple user. So this is what last we have seen. Now, last class, we were keep on opening one record and we are sharing the single user or a multiple user. Let's assume that I have a records like a record 1, 2, 3, 4, like this multiple records till a record 100. I have 100 records. So these 100 records I wanted to share with the different users. There are 100 records and I wanted to share these 100 records with the users. So that means in my org, I have a multiple users, user 3, user 4, user 5, up to user 50. We have user 50 are there. Now let's say that record one, I wanted to share with user 1, user 3, user 7, user 9, user 10, user 12, user 15, user 21, user 27, user 32, user 47. These are random users which I wanted to share the record, right? If it is a single user, 3 users, that is 5. But if I wanted to share the record 1 with these users, and then record 2 with the different users, and record 3 with the different users, if I wanted to share this with the multiple users, assume that record 1, I wanted to share with this list. And then we have another list, which is a user 2, user 2, user 4, user 8, user 11, user 10. So record 2, I wanted to share with this group. And record 1, record 3 should be shared with, these are the users. These are the users I wanted to share the record 1 and record 3. And record 2 and record 4, I wanted to share with these users. Right? So this will be fine when I have a less records and when I wanted to share the record with the single user, maximum 3 users or 5 users, it is fine. But if we have a more than 10 users, if we have a more than 50 users, and I need to share 1,000 records with the different users, and each user's list is a more than 50 users. Now, how difficult task it is if I go to the Salesforce, If I go to the Salesforce and if I click on here button called sharing button. So if I click on this sharing button, so this is the one record. For this record, if I have to share, then I need to select users here. Multiple users, I have to keep on selecting it and save it. So this is one record. Like this, I have to do for almost 1,000 records. So it is so difficult to maintain the users list every time that I wanted to share the record. So it is similar like a WhatsApp. If you have to send a message to the different users, right? So you have some list of users you wanted to send. So you wanted to send only few messages to the certain users and few messages to the another certain users. Now, if you miss sending it, that means you are going to lose one review, whoever is going to review it. So if I miss adding the user 28 for one of the record, that means this user will not get the access to view the record. This user will not get the access to record because somehow I forgot. Somehow I forgot because I was doing the 1,000 records. So instead of assigning it, so in WhatsApp, what we do, instead of sending a messages to the each single user, we'll create a group. In WhatsApp, we create a group and then we will send a single message to that group. Similarly, in Salesforce, what we do is whatever the users list we have, okay, there are certain users list that client will be providing us. These users should have record 1, record 4, record 3 access. So what I'll do is, what are the list we got it? So for these users, this is one group, this is another group. So we will create a public group in Salesforce. We will create a public group in a Salesforce. So public group is nothing but where it has a list of users, If you want to share a record, you need not to select a single user. You can directly select a public group, and in this public group, whoever the user sits into this public group, everybody will get access automatically if I share the record to the public group. So right now, what we are going to see is, we have seen the sharing to the single user, multiple users, but multiple users, instead of selecting the multiple users, what I'm going to do is, right now we are going to create a public group. We are going to create a public group. Through the public group, we can assign a record to the multiple users instead of individually selecting it. Instead of manually selecting the multiple users, I can create a public group. For this public group, I can share the record. Now, public group. So what is the public group here? As I explained before, while sharing the record to multiple users, if I wanted to share a record to the multiple users, instead of selecting each user separately, we can add them into a group.
Right.
We can add them into the group, which is called public group. So while sharing the record to the multiple users, instead of selecting a single user or each user, I can combine all the users and I can keep those users into the group, which is called public group. So public group contains a set of users and subgroups also. So that means, so far what we have known is, this is a public group. In this public group, we have a users, right? We have a users. This is one public group. There is a possibility that there is a group here. It's a group. So you have a group, within the group, another users are there. So on top, it's a group. So this is a group. And inside this group, you have a users. Now, Also, you can create another group. Also, you can create another group. That means group inside the group. Group inside the group. So I am creating the another group on top of it. So group can contain a users as well as a group can contain the subgroups. We have subgroups. So group, subgroups, and within that we'll have a users. And while sharing the record, whenever we click on a sharing button, whenever we are sharing the record, we can share the record to the public group. So when we select a public group, automatically the records will be shared to the users. And public group will make the records to be visible to all the group members automatically. As soon as I share the record, whatever the record access is, the record visibility is automatically shared with all the users who are sits into that particular group. Couple of points here. We can create one or more public group inside the organization. There is no limits on that. And all the public group members information will get resides into the group member object. We have an object called group member object. So in case, in future, in the code or in somewhere, if you wanted to refer something, what are the public groups are there? You can query this. You can query the group member object. If you query, query is nothing but you are running some string in order to know what are the data sets into this object. You are running something to know what are the records that are sets into the object. So if you wanted to run to understand what are the public groups are there in our org, so you can use this group member object. By using the group member object, you can create, you can know that how many records, how many public groups are created inside the organization. And a user can be part of multiple groups. It is possible that user is already part of this group. And it is possible that the same user can be part of another group and part of the another group. Multiple groups. So we have a user one. User one is part of this, part of this, part of this, part of this. So user can be multiple groups. There is no restriction that user has to be strict to this group. User can be part of multiple groups. So this is a public group. Now, navigation steps to create a public group. Step, search for a public group. Click on new button. And when you click on a new button, the window gets open here. The window gets open. I'm not sharing the Salesforce page. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one are you
Yes, ma'am.
seeing? Slide deck, right?
Yes.
Yes, navigation steps.
Yeah. So navigation steps, when we click on a new button, I'm clicking, the window will get open. So here in this window, when we click on the new button, we have an option called label and group name. We have an option called name and group name. So name, group name is nothing but group name is automatically populated when you enter the label. Group name is nothing but a API. Group name is nothing but a API. And the next one, we have a grant access using the hierarchy. Grant access using the hierarchy. Why we use this? So we have a structure, role hierarchy is there. So we have CEO, COO, right? So CTO. For example, below the CTO, we have another user which is called VP. Now, in case if you are sharing the record, to VP, and VP is reporting to CTO. In case if you are sharing the record to VP, and if you want automatically should be shared with VP manager. Whoever is the VP manager is their CTO. If we want automatically shared, then use the group access using the hierarchy. That means whenever I share a record to VP, automatically the VP manager gets the access to view the record. View what are the level of access. Based on the level of access, they will get the view. Now, uncheck it. Most of the times we will uncheck it. And the next one we have you can, by clicking on here, search box. There is a search box. Right now it is showing as a public group. There are multiple options are there in the search. Because I'm creating a group, when I'm creating a group, I have an option to insert the subgroups. So that's the reason it is giving the option called public group. And we have an option where we can select the users also. So we can click on here the users. The users will be, so based on the selection, here the users within the org, it will be shown here. So what we have to do is we have to select each one and click on add so that the user will be selected here. The user will be selected. And the next one, we have a delegated administration group. So before goes to the delegated administration group, let's talk about the normal users adding here. Now click on save so that what will happen, we are going to, the public group is going to create it. So let's take a use case. So I have a record 1, record 2, record 3, record 4, record 5 till record 10. Now the use case which I'm doing is I'm going to create a public group. So I'm going to create a group. In this group, probably I can add 2 members because we are working right now in the developer org. So assume that I'm going to add 2 members in the Hyderabad sales group. So let's take a scenario that I'm getting the cases. Assume that I'm getting the cases. There are issues are raised by the client. So whenever the issues are raised from the Hyderabad group, I wanted to assign those records to the Hyderabad sales group. Okay, let's assume that whenever the record is created, that record, whoever sits into the Hyderabad location, I wanted to assign everybody because I don't know who is empty right now to take care of that case. I don't know who are empty right now to take care of that case. So what I'll do is whoever is working in the Hyderabad. So for everybody, I'll create one group. Similarly, we have a team in Mumbai. So whoever is working as a development team, so I'll create a group for the Mumbai sales group development team. Similarly, we have another group in the Bangalore who are working in development. So these are the 3 groups which I'm going to create it. These are the 3 groups I'm going to create it. And in this group, I'm going to put the users who are related to that particular location. So what I'll do is, these are the groups. These are the groups. Also, I can create another group. So there is no limitation that how many groups I can create it. So based on your requirement, you can create it. Now, whenever the record comes to me, I'll open the record and I'll click on a sharing button and I'll check the record. So what kind of a record, from where it came. So I'll verify everything. Then I'll click on a sharing button. On clicking on a sharing button, I can select the related group member. If the case came from Hyderabad, then I can point that case to the Hyderabad sales group. If it is a record came from, for example, record 2 came from Bangalore. So I can point to the Bangalore team. Record 4 came from Mumbai. So I can point that to the Mumbai team. So I know that because I'm reviewing the cases. I'm reviewing the cases because for all this group, I'm handling. All this group I'm handling, and whatever the records are coming to me, first I need to do the basic research. And after doing the basic research, I can point for further development onto this. Similarly, if we call center. So when you call a call center, if you have some issue, so whatever they can do, they will help on it. But if you say that the issue is not yet resolved, so what they will do is they will redirect it to the development team. They will redirect it to the development team. So they will not talk to a specific member. If I call a call center, so they will not talk to a specific development member. What they will do, they will ping in the developer group. There is a issue which I'm holding it, which is a very urgency. If somebody is available, can you please jump onto this call? So they will be pinging the group, the development group. So whoever is available in the group, they will say that, yes, I am available. Even for when you are doing the online chart, right? There is a chart which will be available here. So if there is a chart, it shows here, right? When you click on it, the box gets open. There is a box gets open. So we will wait till the person comes online. The chat box will be open. It says that still waiting for the developer or whoever it is. Because whatever, when I click on it, what will happen initially? It first go to a specific group. A specific group, whether it is a Hyderabad or whether it is a Mumbai or whether it is a Bangalore. It goes to the group, and whoever is available, they will say that, hi, I'm from this so and so, what can I help you? So they will keep on responding to us. So, but we are not pinging any specific developer here. We are not pinging any technical person here. So from the group, they have came us to help us. So it is similarly in Salesforce also. Whenever the record is assigned to me, whenever the record is cases came. So whenever the case is reached to us, we will just verify what kind of a case it is. So that we will reach out to those related groups. And further, I can create, there is a possibility that I can create this all group combinedly and I'll put it as another group. I can combine all these groups and I can create a new group. Why do I need all combined group? Because there is some other scenario, irrespective of the location, we want a member to help. So for that, what I'll do is I'll create another group here, which is where the subgroups are Hyderabad, Mumbai, Bangalore. Everybody is available in this group. So this is a public group and this is a subgroup, and within the subgroup, we have a users. Now let's take a requirement. I'll configure a public group, Hyderabad sales group. Configure a public group, Hyderabad sales group, by adding we have a user called Radha Srinivas and we have a user called Nagamani Venna to the group member. Now, let's go ahead and see. Let's go to the setup. So navigation steps are
search for the public groups.
Public groups.
Public groups.
Create new button.
So when we reach to the public group, it says that a public group is a set of users. It can contain the individual users or other groups also. The users in this particular role or a territory, or the user in a role or a territory, plus all of the users below the role or territory in the hierarchy. It doesn't matter basically. For example, somebody at the high level, somebody at the lower level, it doesn't matter. Because when you select here users, by default, it is going to show all the users here. It is going to show all the users, whoever the users are there in your org, it will be shown. But in case, if you wanted to specific users which are part of the role, now I need a role VP and I'm only interested for the VP users. Whoever is the VP users are there, only I wanted to share this record. So click on this role. So when I click on this role, we can select the role here. So what will happen? All the users who are holding the role called VP, they will get the access automatically. If I say role and subordinates is nothing but CTO. If I'm selecting the CTO, automatically all the subordinates along with this role will be connected, right? So here in this case, VP is connecting to CTO. So VP is subordinates. So automatically, if I do not add VP also here, this role will get the access as well as all the subordinates who are reporting to CTO. Subordinates is nothing but who are reporting to CTO, they will also get the access. So I'll click on a user. You can add one role, you can add a role and subordinate. You can say that this is my role and these are the role and subordinates and this is my user. So you can combine. There is no restriction that if I select a users, only the users needs to be added. If you have a multiple criteria that is given by the client, you can add multiple. You can add one role, multiple role, and role and subordinates. You can add a user, right? Multiple things you can add it here. So that means I'm selecting the members who are going to get the access if I create a public group. So public group, which I'm going to create it is Hyderabad sales group. So this Hyderabad sales group. Now I'll uncheck this because I do not want. I'll remove the CFO because right now the users are not holding any role. We have removed it. And Radha and Nagamani. So I'm adding 2 users here. What I did, I created a Hyderabad sales group. I created Hyderabad sales group. Click on save. One group is created. One group is created. If you wanted to create another group, so you can take Bangalore sales group, and then you can add the users. See, it is showing the group here because I just added the group. And you can select the users. For example, you can take Swapna and Nagamani. User can be multiple group. It's not necessary that this user was already part of Hyderabad. Will the system will allow me to add this user into another group? Yes, system will allow. Because a user can be part of multiple groups. So far I have created a Hyderabad and then I have created a Bangalore sales group. I have created Bangalore sales group. Now, if you want to create another group, which is a combined one, Bangalore and so select Bangalore, Hyderabad. If you have any other group, check this and you can create another group. So this is another group where the subgroups are Bangalore sales group and subgroup is Hyderabad sales group. So public group can contain a subgroups, public group can contain the users. And along with the group, if you wanted to add a user, you can go ahead and add the user. Right? So this is a public group. Cancel. Now I have created 2 public groups. So that is the requirement where I have created the Hyderabad and I have assigned the 2 users to this group. Now let's say that login as a Messi, login as this user and create an account record, and share this account record to Hyderabad sales group with read and write access, So let's go ahead and implement that. What is happening? So far I have created this, and then I'll go to the account. Oh, sorry, I have to log in as a user. So go to the users. So right now I'm logging in as a Messi. I'll create an account. So let me create a new account. You can create a new account, public, search account, public group account. Okay, so I'll say rating and then ownership. Let's not give the ownership. So type prospect, customer priority, high, SLA, go. Let's click on save. Account, public group account is created. Now, how can I verify how this account is shared with who all the users? How can I cross verify that this account is shared with who all the users? How do I know that? This is the interview question. If one record is created, how do I know that this record is shared with who all the users?
In sharing option, we can see one option is there, how many members are there to share.
So in order to know that, you need to click on sharing button. So when you click on a sharing button, this is the option. It will tell shared with one group of a user. So you will know that how many this record is shared with who all the users and what are the access level. Now, till last week, we were keep on selecting the users here. What are the users we have? So we were selecting the users. But right now, I do not want to select the users. If I do not want to select the users, first change the option here. Change the option from user to public group. Change the option from user to public group. Now you can search the public group. So Hyderabad sales group. Now what access I wanted to give? I wanted to give read, write, account access. Case is private, contact is private, opportunity is private. So let's click on it, save. Now what happened? Record shared data of Hyderabad group was created. It is shared. Now let's click on log out. Now the user which I have added is Nagamani is one of them. Nagamani was part of the Hyderabad sales group. Now I'll go to the sales. Let's search account. Let's click on the account. Click on accounts. Now let's click on all accounts. Public group account. Now, if this user is able to edit, because this user has a read access and as well as the edit access, I can modify some number here and click on save. Updated. Now, if Messi go and look at the account, the updated data will be displayed. The updated data will be displayed. Now, this is how we assign a user to we assign a record to the public group. So whenever we assign the public group, automatically users within this group will be automatically shared. Till this point, any questions? Okay. Why? Because I logged in.
Swapna,
Yeah.
one thing, while we are sharing the record, right, few options are defaultly selected, right? 1 second, Swapna, sorry. When we did a sharing, few options are defaultly selected, right? Read and write access something.
No, it's not a default. A default will be read only. When you click on a sharing button, the default, it will see read only, but that doesn't mean that it is already shared. Okay, so there won't be, for example, if I'm creating another one. So let's create another one as a P1 and then warm, click on save. Now, this record, what I'm doing it, P1 is created. Now, if Nagamani logs in back, if Nagamani cross-verify that what are the records are there, will Nagamani able to see the record?
No.
She cannot see the record because at the OWD level, we have a private. Now, that's the reason I'm clicking on a sharing button. When I click on a sharing button, it opens up the sharing button and it will give what are the level of access that I wanted to give. So that level of access is only two options we have, read only and read write.
Okay, Swapna.
Okay, so coming back to the delegated administration group. So basically delegated administration group is how to, first of all, how to create a delegated administration group. We have some option here, delegated administrations. So what is this delegated administrations? Basically, these delegated administrations are, they will have some admin access. They will have some admin access, like a resetting password, policies, checking the password policies, maintaining the list of authorized users. For example, user is not a system admin. User is a Salesforce platform user, or user is some other user. But I wanted to give a certain access to that user because I wanted to maintain this user. We need it because we wanted to maintain the list of authorized users. They wanted to maintain the list of authorized users, or they wanted to, I need some user which needs to be maintained the password policies, limit logins, how many limits are there, certain hours, locations, if they wanted to cross verify. So it is similar, like I have a team, I have a company, right? In company, everybody is developers. But out of those developers, I need a one member who can work on the admin issues, who can sometime monitor the admin issues. I need, out of 10 developers, I need one member who will be monitoring if one of the developer is facing the login issue, whom to contact, some kind of a additional access which I wanted to give, right? Those are the delegated administration. So below are the delegated group defined per your organization. You can choose the delegate user administration, custom object administration, or both delegated administrator of this group. So what will happen is, in order to create that, you have to first create the group. You have to create a group. So this is just a warning, because the login access policies for this org allow impressions of users by administrator without requiring the explicit. So they will be having a access, basically these kind of, whoever the users which I'm going to add here, they will have all the few admin access, like a login access policy, password policies, and checking the hours, locations. So these are the things will be additional access we will be giving it. So for example, I'm creating the delegated. I'm creating the delegated group here. So let's click on it, save. So when I create a delegated group, it has a multiple option here. So it will ask here, you wanted to add any users. You have some users in your organization. Out of those users, do you want to have a special permissions to the few users? So you can add the administrations. Let's say that you are going to add a users. So when you click on a users, it is basically roles and subordinates. So you have two options here, delegated administration and user administration. Now delegated administration is nothing but it will point out to add a users. It will point out to add a users. So if I click on this, all the users I can see here. So if I select Swapna here, so what will happen? Swapna will be part of this delegated group. Now, if I click on user administration is nothing but role and subordinates. If you wanted to have a specific role that they wanted to get access, so you can select that role. So once it is selected, for example, right now I have created it. So now what I'll do is I'll go to the public group, refresh. Now let's assume that whenever I'm creating a account record, along with the normal users, I wanted to give a additional access to the delegated group. I wanted to give access to the delegated group. That means whoever is part of this group, I wanted to give access to them also. In that case, we use the delegated group, but in real time, we do not use for sharing the public groups to the delegated groups. Only for the users, role and subordinates and public group. If there are any subgroups are there, only this is used. Now we created a record and we shared with the user called in the group called Hyderabad Sales Group. So this is what we have done it. Now, before I move on, any questions? Public groups. Okay. So far we have discussed this process. Manual sharing through the sharing button. I can access a single user or I can assign the multiple users through the public group by selecting the public group. Now, next one which we are going to see is automated sharing. Next one we are going to see automated sharing. On the automated sharing, we have an option called sharing rule. We have an option called sharing rule. Using this sharing rule, how can we automatically share the record to the multiple users? How can we share the record to the multiple users? So right now, I'm moving on to this part, sharing rule, which is an automated sharing. Now let's move on. Now, let's take a scenario. Why we need a sharing rule? Let's take a scenario. Similar scenario that I have a multiple records. I have a multiple records and we have a multiple groups are there. Hyderabad group, Mumbai group and Bangalore group. But in real time, assume that we have so many groups are there. We have so many groups are there. Now, right now what we are doing, we are going into the record one and I'm assigning to the one group. Now I'm going to the record 2, assigning to the group 2. Going to the record 3, assigning to the Bangalore group. But let's assume that tomorrow I have 1,000 records, 1,000 cases are came. 1,000 cases are came. Now each case, if I wanted to review and assign it to the group, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. Let's assume that I wanted to assign the record 1 to the Hyderabad sales group, right? Now also record 2. Now also record 3. Multiple things which I wanted to assign it to the Hyderabad group. If it is 100 records, I can manage it. If it is 50 record, I can manage it. But I'm doing the repeated work. The work is repeating. The same steps I'm repeating again and again. right? Whatever I did since morning till now, I'm doing the same thing. So instead of doing manual process, instead of doing this, what I can do is there are multiple ways to share a record to a group. One way is I can consider here, let's assume that leads are created here. Okay, I'm creating there is a leads are getting created. Assume that we are getting a leads. Whenever the leads are generated, these leads we can push to the leads owner, right? So leads owner can be the group. So whatever the leads that are assigning to the group, I want to automatically share that records to the Hyderabad group. Whatever the records are created for the owner, where the owner says that Bangalore, assign those of them, or else there is another way is I will define a criteria. Criteria is if account name equal to Hyderabad, if account rating equal to warm, if these two conditions are meeting it, assign those records to automatically to Hyderabad group or assign those records to Mumbai group without a manual effort. As soon as the record is created or as soon as the record is updated, immediately the record should be assigned, record should be shared with the related groups. Now, sharing rule. So automated sharing rule. Is one criteria we have sharing rules. Sharing rules is nothing but while sharing the record to the users with the manual sharing. If the number of records are more, then it will be time consuming process because I need to spend a lot of time. The one which I have explained it similarly. So I need to spend a lot of time doing the manual sharing. So what we can do is to make the sharing process automated, we can use a sharing rule. I can use a sharing rule. Sharing rules are used to share the records to the required public group, required roles and subordinates automatically. So that means whenever the record is created, I'm creating a record. So whenever the record is created, I can share this record to the specific public group. I can share the record to the specific role, or I can share the records to the roles and subordinates. Automatically based on the certain condition. And sharing rule will always fire after insert. During the creation, it will not fire. Once the record is saved in the database, that means there is no error, no compilation error. So I clicked on a save button here. So no errors I'm getting it. That means the data is saved in the database. Once the data is saved in the database, that means after inserting the record or after updating the record, these two scenarios, the sharing rule will fire. After insert, after update. And we can add one or more sharing rules in a single object. There is no restriction that how many sharing rules will be added in the single object, but in the real time, maximum for the single object, mostly if you are good with this, maximum 5. If you ask me, maximum 3 I can say, but if it is a very hard criteria, then maximum 5 rules. 5 sharing rules, it is better to create it, because the more sharing rule you create it, you are making the system more complicated. If you create more than 5 sharing rules. So maximum 3, if it is a very hard to handle in the 3, then maximum 5. Now this is sharing rule. Now let's see, sharing rules are divided into 2 types. One is owner based. That means if you go to the account, if you go to any object, not only the account, if you go to any object, So whenever the record is created, we have a owner field. We have owner field. There is a option called owner. So we have a owner field. If you go to the opportunity, in the opportunity also you can see owner field. So let's assume that there are records that are created for the lead. See, here is also owner. So let's assume that we have written a logic to identify wherever the leads are created. Okay, I know that because we can access this page is accessed by the US, this page is accessed by the Hyderabad, this page is accessed by the Bangalore. We can know that from the Apex side or from the Visual Force page side. So by using that, I can know that from this lead is coming from where. So based on that, let's assume that I'm assigning here lead owner is as a some owner, which is a group of owners, right? So based on this owner, I can assign, that means based on this owner, I can push this record, I can assign based on this owner, I can share the record to the public group. So if the owner says Hyderabad, that means I'll share the record to the Hyderabad group. So that is the owner-based sharing rule. Owner-based sharing rule. So owner-based sharing rule is nothing but based on the record owner. Based on the record owner, it will share the record to the associated group. And the second one is a criteria-based sharing rule. Criteria-based sharing rule. Criteria-based sharing rule is nothing but you will have some conditions like annual revenue equal to 6,000 or rating equal to warm. So you are mentioning some condition here. So this is called criteria-based sharing rule. So in the criteria-based sharing rule, it will share the record to the required public group based on the required public group or role and subordinates based on the specified user-defined conditions. Who will be giving these user-defined conditions? Client will be giving the user-defined conditions. So based on these conditions, the records will be automatically shared to the public group or a role and subordinates. So scenario is navigation steps to create. So steps are search, sharing, setting, select the object, click on new. So here, for example, sharing settings, sharing settings is where we have gone for OWD settings. So right, so sharing setting, if you go down, if you scroll down, you will see some option called each object will be having a sharing. So that means if you are creating a sharing rule for the lead, so there is a separate box for the lead sharing rule. There is a separate box for the lead sharing rule. If you are creating the sharing rule for the cases, then there will be a cases sharing rule. If for the custom object also we can see custom object, we have created the students or we have created the patients. So for the patients, you will see patients sharing rule. For the student sharing rule. For each object, you will see there is a sharing rule will be there. Each object, there will be a sharing rule will be there. So now steps are, now once you click on a new, there are 5 steps here. There are 5 steps. Step 1 is a rule name where you will be entering the label. Rule name is automatically populated based on the label name and then description. And the second one is select your rule type. Select your rule type. Rule type is, we have a 2 type of sharing rules. One is owner based. So it will give owner based, and the second one is criteria based. Criteria based. So it will ask, do you wanted to go for a owner based or do you wanted to go for a criteria based? And step 3 is share the records to be, select the records, select which records to be shared. Select which records to be shared. So that means here we need to select the members. Do you want it to? So if you say based on criteria, so this step 3 will be changed. If you select this, so based on the step 2, step 3 will be changed. So if you select a based on record owner, it shows that select which records to be shared. So here you need to select a public group, the owner of the record. So you can select that owner here. If you select the based on criteria, step 3 will be, again, it changed here to show that conditional, what are the conditions are there. And the next one is a step 4. Step 4 is select the users to share with. Whom do you want it to share? And the step 5 is select the level of access for the users. What level of access do you want it to give it? So we have 5 steps. One is the rule name. Select your rule type. Select which records to be shared. Select the user to share with. Select the level of access for users. Now, if I go back to the Salesforce. So in Salesforce, so if I go to the sharing settings. Now sharing settings is the one where we have done the OWD setting. So OWD settings and sharing rules both will be sits into the sharing settings. So you remember this, we were working on this OWD settings, right? If you scroll down, you will see sharing rules. So this is from here, the sharing rule starts. So for each object, you will see this is the lead sharing rule, account sharing rule, contact sharing rule, opportunity sharing rule. For each object, you will see a separate sharing rule section will be there. So similarly for the custom object also. So we had created a custom object called student and patient. So patient and student also we have separate section here. Now, for now, I'm going with the account. So let's go ahead and create a one report. Click on new. So when you click on a new, so we have 5 steps. So use sharing rule to make automatic exception to your organization-wide sharing setting for defined set of users. Role and subordinates include all the users in role and roles below the role. That means whoever is reporting to that user, everybody will get access. You can use the sharing rule only to grant wider access to data, not to restrict the access. Sharing rule is always wider. You are opening up the access to the user. Now, rule 1 is where we are entering the label, role name. And here, if you observe this, step 3, select which records to be shared. It will give public groups, roles and subordinate. Now, as soon as I switch this based on criteria, your step 3 will be changed. If I change this, the step 3 will be again modified. If I check this, the step will be again modified. So based on your rule type, the step 3 will be shown. Based on your rule type, the step 3 will be shown. And the step 4, whom do you want it to share? The public group. If you select a public group, it will give all the public groups. Now, one of the interview questions they will ask, through the sharing rule, I wanted to share the record to all the internal users, irrespective of the role. I wanted to share all the internal users through sharing rule. How can we share all the internal users? We have an option here, all internal users. If you select it, everybody will get the access. Whoever is the internal users are there, everybody will get the access. Now we have options here, public groups, role and subordinates.
Swapna, what do you mean by internal users?
All the
Who are-
internal users, say internal sales platform user, right? Whoever is having the Salesforce access,
All the users, basically all the users.
whoever is having the access to the Salesforce, everybody.
Ma'am, here we have select our rule type. Which rule is more preferable? Like record owner or based on criteria.
Can you repeat it?
Here we have two rule types, ma'am, based on record owner or based on criteria. Which one is more preferable, ma'am?
In real time, we use the based on criteria. Based on owner is very less. So mostly we go with the criteria because criteria will give more flexibility for the admin team who can add the details here.
Yeah.
Okay, very rare scenario, we go with the owner.
Ma'am, how many conditions we can apply? Like,
Maximum, whatever I can see here, maximum 50. But we don't write those many, we do not write those many things. See, if you are writing more than 10 conditions here, that means you are making your complicated, your sharing rule is complicated here. So you
Okay.
can check here. So maximum, which I feel that 50 it was. Yeah, maximum 50, you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
add it. So that is the condition, and let's refresh. Now, in case if you do not want equal to, for example, in the based on criteria, if I say that rating equal to or not equal to, these options are there. But instead of this, I wanted to make my own criteria. I do not want to write here. I wanted to write my own criteria. So in that case, we have here something kind of a filter. So this filter is, sorry, if you are adding here, so what are the rating equal to warm, or what are the options you are adding here, right? So by default, what will happen? By default, it is and condition. So if you say here, active, yes. By default, it is the and condition. So if you wanted to change this 1 or 2, in those scenario, we use a filter logic here. That means you wanted to use all the and conditions, or a 1 and 2 or 3 or 1 and 2 and 3 or 4, you can put that logic here, whichever is possible. So in real time, we can maximum, we can go for the 5, but if you are going with the more than 5, please make sure. So this is the criteria based. Okay, so here step 5 will have a read only, read write, and a contact. If you wanted to give read only, you can mention that. So these are the 5 steps. Now let's say the requirement, configure a sharing rule on the account object. On the account object to share the account record to the Bangalore sales group. Configure a sharing rule on the account object to share the account record to the Bangalore sales group. If the account record meets the below condition, account rating equal to hot and industry equal to finance, active equal to S, customer priority equal to high. So these are the 4 conditions we have. We have 4 conditions. If any of the record is met this condition, then it should be shared with Bangalore sales group. It should be shared with Bangalore sales group. So let's go ahead and create it. So I'm creating the one. So let's say that CIS sharing rule. Okay, so based on criteria, rating equal to hot and industry equal to finance. industry equals to, you can click on this binocular. So what will happen wherever the pick lists are there, those pick lists will be displayed here. Industry equal to, what is the option which we have here? Finance.
Finance.
Finance. Insert selected, and the next option is active equal to S. Click on inserted, and next option is customer priority. So customer priority equals to, let's say, high. So if this is the one, then I wanted to share the record with public group called Bangalore Sales Group. And the default access should be read write. Click on save. Save. Right. So here it says that one or more sharing operations has been initiated. See below for additional details. So that means it is basically a warning. That means it is taking some time to update it. If you are getting that warning is nothing but there is a backend process which is running to update the sharing rule. It's taking some time. Now, who are the part of Bangalore group? Let's go ahead and see in the meantime. So Bangalore group, Swapna and Nagamani is part of it. It takes some time to update. So let's go to the sharing settings. Okay, it's updated. Now the warning gone. So now you can see here account sharing. In the account sharing, criteria is, this is the criteria. Rating equals to hot, industry equal to finance, account equal to active, and then customer priority equal to high. This is the condition. And we have given the access, read, write. We have given the access, read, write. Perfect. And the contact is private, opportunity is private, case is a private. Now, what I'll do is I'll log in as a user. Let's log in as Messi. Criteria is rating equal to hot, industry equal to finance, account active equal to yes, customer priority equal to high.
Ma'am, does it affect on Salesforce internal processor network issue? Because I'm also facing this type of person many times.
Okay. So if that is the issue with Salesforce, let's go ahead here. AC 123. Hmm. Why there is a slowness? You guys are facing same thing?
No, Swapna, it's working for me.
Okay. For AP2, India, whoever is created from India, for them it is happening.
It is working fine for me.
No, Swapna, it's working fine for India.
Okay. Let's go to the setup. Okay. So now I'm going to create an account. So let's click on a new account. Okay. So let's create a share role record. What are the criteria? Rating equal to what?
And finance equal to
Finance equal to
Industry equal to finance.
industry equal to finance. Where is the industry?
Not industry.
Okay,
Customer rating what?
fine. So let's click on first check the profile. Let me copy this. Sorry.
Sorry, Swapna, my kid was shouting.
Okay. This user, Messi data sales admin. Okay, this user account level view fields. So we have a option. Industry, we have removed it. Let's give industry, and is there active? Yes, active is there, rating is there, customer priority. So customer priority is there. Okay, let's click on save. Okay, now let's log in as Messi. While login as Messi. Now account, click on new account. Account name, sharing record, rating hot, and industry equal to finance. And then I'll give some other information, prospect, active equal to S, and then
Customer rating.
customer priority.
Okay.
High, and I'll give the SLA also gold, click on save. Sharing record has been created. Now let's click on a sharing. Shared with the two groups, Bangalore sales group, public group, read, write, private. So automatically it's shared with the public group, Bangalore group. So I did not do the sharing. So here, if you click on a view sharing hierarchy, it will show the sharing hierarchy. So all users, who are the users? DEC batch full access, integration user read only, and Messi full access, and Nagamani read write, security users read only, and then read write. Now read write, wherever you see, they are the part of our group, Bangalore group. So they both got the access. So you can see here, user access details. How they got the access as part of this group. As part of this group, they got the access. Now if you click on Nagamani also, when you click on view, they got the as part of this group. Now DEC batch, click on a view. He is the administrator, full access. So you will know that how the records are shared with whom and via which. So everything will be, you can know that by clicking on that sharing button. Now let's assume that there is an interview question on this. While through the sharing rule, I wanted to share it to the specific user. How can you share with the specific user? Do we have an option to share the specific user here? I have a public group, role and roles and subordinates. How can you share the record to the specific user?
By using role.
Manual sharing.
By using role.
Either manual
Roles.
sharing or in the public group, only one user we can add.
Roles and support.
Role, multiple users will be there in role. So that particular role is assigned to multiple users. I do not want the multiple users to get the connected there. It is not, I do not want multiple users to be shared, this record to be shared with the multiple users. I wanted to share with only one user. Assume that there is a Radha is there. So I wanted to share with Radha. I cannot do that with the roles and subordinate. What we have to do is we have to create a public group. Within the public group, we
With
have to
single
add a
user.
So add a single user. So through the public group, you have to do. So the question to confuse you, what they will ask you, through the sharing setting, how can you share the record to a single user? They will say that I do not want to go with the manual. I wanted to do it through the sharing setting. Then the option is simply by creating the public group for a single user, and we can share the record. Clear? Any questions?
Swapna, just now you shared one record, right? Using the sharing row, sharing role.
Mhm.
Yeah. So can you just go log in as that user and try to update the record, shared record, not the one who created the record, okay? The one with whom it is being shared.
Mhm.
Can you just
What is
try?
happening?
I mean, it should allow me to save ideally because I have given read write access, right?
Yes, it should.
But yeah, but it is not allowing me. So I was, so can you try once?
So who are the part of Bangalore users? So let's log in as a Nagamani. Let's click on login. Let's go to the account. Now, which one did we create it? Sharing record. Let's click on edit. So let's say I'm adding the account number. Click on save. It's updated.
It's updated, no? I don't know. Is it because what is that? We have to share in a particular order or anything, or I can assign any users. It's fine.
It doesn't do that. Basically, we do not have an order here. We have a just criteria here, rating equal to hot and industry. This is the criteria. There is a no order here. Whether should I share first this user, should I say this user? There is no order because we are selecting the group here. Within that group, whoever the users are there, everybody should be getting that. Now, let's assume that if the user, the same user, whoever is created the user, okay, this user, if I make a changes on the record level. So this is a sharing record. Now it is already shared with Swapna, where the Bangalore group is there, it is already shared. Now let's assume that I'm changing one criteria here. What will happen? Will it still holding the sharing?
No, it will go. The visibility would be there.
So sharing will be gone because sharing rules will be applied after insert and after update. So now if you click on a sharing here, now you can see that this record is shared with only one group of user. Only group means whoever is created, the user. So it is not yet shared. So based on the update, based on the insert, the sharing rules will be applied here. Now let's take another scenario. Now what I wanted to do is whatever the sharing that I have, I wanted to modify that sharing. Now I wanted to modify that sharing. Let's take a type equal to prospect. Now I'll go ahead and I'll edit this sharing. I'll edit this sharing. And now I'll add another criteria here, type equal to prospect. Type equal to prospect. If I'm just updating the sharing rule. If I update a sharing rule, what will happen? Okay, so what will happen? The sharing rule will be applicable only for new records, not for the existing record. If you modify this record, okay, you have added the record, and after 10 days, client has requested that, can you add a few more criteria? So what you can do is you can edit that criteria and you can update it. Once you update it, so it will be updated, but this condition will be applied. What are the latest criteria is there? That latest criteria will be applicable only for the new records that I'm going to create right now. Then what will happen if I created the one which I have created the previous? The one which I have created the previous, it won't be affected. It won't be updated. Now, if you want existing records to be also, this criteria should be matching it, then you have to click on a recalculate button. If you click on a recalculate button, what will happen? What are the permissions are there? What are the sharing rules are there? It will be applicable for all the existing records as well as new records also. So recalculate is nothing but calculate everything. That means reapply all the, what are the existing records are there, reapply it. Sometimes what happens in the real time is they will say that I have a certain rules. Seems like this rule was not working for one of the record. This rule is perfectly fine. It is meeting the criteria. But as per this rule, it is not sharing the record to this group. Why? Because they might have updated or they might have edited, but they forgot to click on a recalculate. So if you click on a recalculate, what will happen? All the existing records will be recalculated again. Okay, so for your Archana, maybe you need to check what is the criteria that you have applied.
No, it is working fine.
Okay.
The problem was what, Sapna, what I did, I created an account, okay, and because of the sharing account, the other users were able to view it, and through that other user, I changed the criteria. No? The rating was high when I created from the creator, but with the shared user, I changed the rating to cold. Okay.
Yeah.
So then what happened? Automatically the rights were revoked. Right?
Okay.
So because of that, yeah. Okay.
Fine. So this is sharing rule. Okay. Now, any questions on this sharing rule before I move on?
Swapna, one thing like if it is gone after updating, so do we need to apply all the times? Like
Whenever, usually we do not touch the sharing rule. Once it is created, we do not touch it. But if your clients come back saying that I wanted to add another criteria, what we usually do is we create a new one. But if they say that I wanted to apply to the existing one, so in that case, we have to use the recalculate. Otherwise, your existing records criteria does not match.
Hi, Swapna.
Yeah, Ram.
Here scenario like account rating is equals to sometimes like a warm, then like industry is equals to agriculture. That time what scenario we have to like again we have to create and or
So that,
like
yeah. So, but if it is a rating equal to warm, account equal to agriculture, do you want to share the records with this people Bangalore?
yeah, Bangalore
You wanted to share with another group?
Bangalore only for that.
So in that case, what you can do is you can add another condition here. So you wanted to make it, you wanted to have this rating equal to hot, as well as you wanted to add another one, rating equal to warm, right?
Yes.
So you can add rating equal to warm here, but what you have to do is insert here the condition 1 or 6.
Okay, based on that filter.
Yeah, you need to
Okay.
put here 1 or 6. Industry 2 or what are the 7? Okay, you can add that way.
Like can you come back?
Okay, let me add one more here. So add row clear filter. Add row. Rating equals to, let's say, warm. Insert. Now I'll add here 1 or 6.
It consider both, no? Like maybe.
No, it either this true or this true.
Okay.
If
I
this,
want 6 means we put on 6 or maybe.
so for example, you are creating a rating. Okay, you are creating a account record. Okay, if you have given the rating equal to hot, so what it will do, the first condition is true.
Yes.
And the or sixth condition is false. So true or false, it became a true. And then it will cross verify rest all of them.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Thank you.
Ma'am, can we not provide multiple value in one field?
No, you can provide it, but you wanted to, do you want to check both of them like a hot, warm? So in case if you wanted to use, do not use the equals to. Equals to cannot be hot, hot, warm, warm, cold. The rating value will be only one value. Right? Rating value will be only one value. If you want this condition, here the option operator should be contains. Either it is containing the hot or it is containing the warm or it is containing the cold. So when you create a record, so does your rating contains here cold? That means rating equal to cold. So when it is rating equal to cold, it doesn't, first what are the value it is there, it will check only this. The cold is not equal to this value. It is a equal to, it is not a contains, or it is not a multiple options here. So right now we do not have here contains. So this way does not work. There are some scenarios like a hot comma warm, you cannot give it. So let's go ahead and create one hot and warm. Let's click on save. Now I'm clicking on save. Okay. Now I have a rate equal to hot comma warm. Okay, so now I'll log in as MSC. Let me create a new record. Click on new. So let's say this is warm. And what are other conditions? Industry equal to finance. And active equal to S. Customer priority equal to high. Save. Account name. Click on save. Now S2 is created. Let's click on a sharing and let's see whether it is working or not. It's not. So basically what is happening here, you are saying that rating hot equal to hot comma warm. Will it be normal? Is this true? Is this true? If hot equal to hot comma warm, is this true? It's never be true, right?
It should be if hot is what is if it's either hot or cold, no, it should work. It's
No, if you want to add a or condition, that's what you need to add another line and mention in the filter criteria or condition. So here you have to say that, let me log out. So when I click on edit, you need to say the other way it will work. The other way is not equal to. Not equal to will work. That means not equal to hot, not equal to warm. That means it should accept the cold. In this case, it might work, but not on the equal to. But in case if you want both of them, then what you have to do is
Yeah.
add filter logic, add row and the rating warm.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
If I put rating not equals to that's the third value, then it will work for two values, hot and warm.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm saying if I'm putting the filter rating not equals to third value. Okay, and while creating a record, I'm selecting hot. Then it's work.
It will not work. So
Again,
you
not.
can check that, yeah. So let's move on. Automated sharing. We have used it sharing rule. By using the sharing rule, we have shared the record to the multiple users. Now the third one which we have is Apex sharing. Third one is Apex sharing. So Apex sharing, we will be doing it through the Apex trigger. Now the question is, I have a manual sharing, I have a automated sharing. That means I have a sharing rule, sharing button, these options is already available. Now, what are the scenarios that we use Apex trigger, Apex sharing? What is the scenario that we need to use the Apex sharing? So this is the interview questions. So they will ask that you have a sharing.
Swapna.
Yeah.
Swapna, before we proceed, I just had one doubt. See, like I just read in the Salesforce documentation that, like we use sharing rules to open up the access horizontally, yeah, but the role hierarchy is vertical.
Yes.
Correct. So it means that horizontally, it means that I want to share my details, my account with my subordinate. That means at the same level,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Correct. But as far as we saw now, with the sharing rule, I can share the records with other managers also, with other,
Yes,
role or, yeah.
Yeah, it is available. So
Yeah,
basically,
that's possible. Yeah.
we have it at the bottom, which is a org wide OWD. Org wide setting is there. Now on top of it, we have something called on top of the OWD. So it is a profile which is handling the object level sharing. On top of the profile, we have manual sharing. And then we have a role hierarchy. We have a role hierarchy. And then on top of it, the final one which we have, sharing rule. So this is how your record access, what are the record access is there? Your access will be increased. Record level access will be increased. So next one we will see Apex sharing and Apex trigger. So interview question is, we have a sharing rule, sharing button. So why do we still need a Apex sharing? Is there any scenario that you have worked on Apex sharing? So in case if you get this kind of a question, just a second. Okay, I might have to leave in 10 minutes. Okay, Apex sharing. So they will ask the interview question. What is the reason that we need to use the Apex sharing? Is there any scenario that you have worked on it? So definitely this scenario we will see in the development class. But right now to give you the clarity, why do we need Apex sharing is, let's assume that you are creating a record. In the record, we have a field called annual revenue. Field called annual revenue. And there is another field which we have created a new field, share to. Okay, we have created a new field called share to. So share to is a lookup field. It's a lookup field. So when you click on this lookup field, it will open up the user details. It will open up the user details. So you have these two scenarios. You have these two scenarios. So two fields are there, annual revenue, and there is a one new field is created, share to. So when we click on this share to, the user record will be open up. You have to select a user. But now the client criteria is, whenever the annual revenue is greater than 50 lakhs and whatever the user is selected on the record, whatever the user is selected on the record, for that user, we need to share a record. If the annual revenue is a greater than 50 lakhs, then it should be read write. That means on creation, while creating the record, I should know that while creating the record, whatever the user select whatever the user select here, the user name share to, only that user, it should be shared this record. And what level of access should be given? If annual revenue is a greater than 50 lakhs, it should be shared read write. If it is a less than 50 lakhs, then it should be a read access. That means I don't know what is the user is selecting here. I don't know what is the user is selecting the share to. There are 100,000 of users are there in the system. They can select any user. So what is we are doing here on creation of record, we are dynamically identifying the user whom to share the record. We are deciding how to share the record, with whom to share the record, and what level of the access do we have to give it. So this is dynamically sharing it. So this is one scenario in real time we use it. Any questions?
But Sapna, this one we can still do it with the sharing rule, right? We can say, we can add the filter criteria where annual rating is greater than 50 or annual something like that, annual rate.
But how do you add a user here? Share to, how do you add user?
No, I think we have one more. If you go back in the in the sharing settings, we can add multiple criterias, right?
Where in sharing settings?
Yeah.
This is on.
For the no, just go back. Sharing settings only. Open the main this thing. Sharing settings. This one.
Is sharing setting. Are you able to see?
Yeah, but not this one. I mean, go back. I oh, where I can see OWD everything from the right menu. Click on the sharing setting. Yeah.
Okay.
Go down. Yes. See, now in the account sharing, we can add multiple criterias, right? I can again add another new criteria, correct?
Right. My question is, how do you select share to equal to which user? I have a field called lookup field called share to, which is similar like a owner. Okay. When you have a owner, how do you know that user is selecting a which user?
Ma'am, just we have discussed about like singles, like public group with
Public groups by user.
public group with a single
User.
Public group, but how do you know that here the user? How do you know the, see, I have a 10,000 users in my system. How do you know that user is selecting the 10th user or 20th user? How do you know that?
So you mean to say that you want to populate the lookup field, right? Basically, you want to.
It's a user field, user lookup. For example, let's go to here. Now I have an option here. Let's create a one record, one field. So setup. So let's create a field, object manager. Click on an account. Let's click on a fields and responsibility. I'm creating a new field. Click on a new field and I'll select one lookup relationship. Click on a next. So I'm looking up to the user because I wanted to select the user here. Click on a user. Now, whoever is not understanding, I'll repeat this lookup relationship. So what I'm doing is I'm basically creating a field here. So let's say it is a shared to. Now I'm creating this shared to field. Click on next. Now click on next. Save. Go back to the account. Let's refresh. Now let me create a record. Now click on a new account. Now let's see share to. Now here I'm selecting the some user. Okay. I have a thousands of users here. Now I'm selecting somebody here. How will my system know that which user I'm selecting here? There are two criteria are there. Two criteria. One is annual revenue criteria. Annual revenue, if it is a single criteria, we can do it through the sharing settings, which is possible. But here I have a two conditions, which is a share to. Share to, I'm selecting the username. So on fly, I'm changing the user to. Now, once it is saved, now whenever I'll save this and after some time I'll modify and I'll change the share to some other person. Right now I'm going to save this record. So let's say that S4. Now I'll save this. Now after 10 minutes, again, I'm going to edit that record and I'll change the share to value to somebody else. That means I need to remove the previous person and I need to share the new person. Now, how will you able to capture this share to?
Okay.
By using Swapna, it's correct or wrong? Maybe SOQL by using like entire users, we have to fetch and we have a criteria based like mm, whatever 50,000 greater than
Where you
less
will do
than
the SQL?
in by using Apex.
Apex is needed, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So for Apex, through the Apex only we can do that.
Yes. This is the
ma'am?
correct way, or maybe.
Yes. So first of all, we need to query, and
Mhm.
then after querying it, we need to check the condition. There is a if else conditions we have to do. We will be doing this one of the session how to share a record. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll show you that in the development. So I'll be covering that part, but we have to definitely do the query and then get the all the what are the required fields are there, and then check the condition. There are 3 conditions are there. One is
Oh.
as soon as, because as soon as I see the update, whenever
Okay.
it is update, sometimes share to is a blank.
Mm-hmm.
Initially they have updated the share to, but later they have removed the share to. That condition also I need to verify.
Yes, yes.
Based on that, I need to remove the sharing.
Mm.
So, but
Yeah.
in interview, if they ask this question, you can give this scenario.
Yeah. And Swapna, the Apex sharing is also after save, right? Like same like sharing rule.
Yes, after
Okay.
insert, after update.
Ma'am, code also one time right?
Code.
Then how code also one time only we can write the code, enter code, and it will be processed again and again.
Yes, we need to write only
Then
one time.
how can I dynamically see that, ma'am? Say which user can see that?
You can see that through the Apex. Apex is possible. Whatever the user is entering, we can able to access that. So we have not reached at the Apex, that place. So we are still going through the step by step. So whenever we reach that step, we will definitely have one kind of a coding, which is for the Apex sharing.
Okay.
Okay, next one is a OWD private. So far, whatever the from last sessions, whatever we have done it, we have done by setting up the account private. So, and we shared the record. So whenever we set the account private, what will happen? Whatever the user has created, this user, for example, CTO user has created. Whenever the CTO user has created, only he can see, right? This user cannot see, this user cannot see, the below user also cannot see. Only this person will have access to view the record. Now, with the private, we have done all the, what are the sharing rules are there, we did it. Now, coming to the public read only. So when I say public read only is nothing but if the CTO creates a record, if this CTO creates a record, CTO will have an access as well as CEO will also have the access, right? But here, when we say public read only, when we say public read only, public means it is available for everybody. Public is, it is available for everybody. But these users, CFO, COO, VP will have a read access. Will have a read access. CTO and CEO will have a complete access. Public, it is available for public, which access? Read access. So if this user is creating it, this user can see, this user can see, this user can see, but they can see as a read only. They can see as read only. Whereas if I say read write is nothing but if the CTO is creating it, definitely CEO will also have the access. These two members will be having a complete access because he is reporting to him. Now, public means it is available for public. That record is available for public, and these users will have read access and write access. Read access and write access. CFO will have a read access and write access. COO will have a read access and write access. VP will have a read access and write access. So that is the differences between the OWD public read write and public read only and private. So public read only means if the object OWD has been set or assigned to public read only, then if any of the user creates a record inside the object, then the record will get visible to all the users inside the organization. But the record owner and his manager will have a full control to the record, create, view, edit, delete, share. But other users will have only read-only access. Public read-write, if the object OWD has been assigned as a public read-write, then if any user creates a record inside the object, then the record will be visible to all the users inside the organization. A record owner and manager will have a full control, whereas other users will have read and edit access. They cannot delete the record, they cannot share the record. Clear on OWD part? Okay, so let's move on. So far, what did we discuss? Sharing multiple records. Yes.
Sharing rules.
Public group.
Public group.
Sharing rules.
Sharing rules.
Sharing rules, navigation steps, and sharing, Apex sharing, OWD private, OWD public read only, read write. Now, one question it will ask, what are the different level of data access in Salesforce? This is a normal question in any basic, if you are putting a 0 to 2 years or 3 years experience, they will ask what are different level of data access in Salesforce. So the different levels are, we have organization level security. Organization level security. Organization level security is very basic, like a password policies, login hours, right? Authorized users, those are the basic. Then we have a object level security. What are the different level data access? Org level, organization level security, object level security. Object level security is on profile, permission set, those. And then field level security. Field level security is also profile, and then record level settings. So record level security is, again, it is divided into org-wide defaults, role hierarchy, manual sharing, automated sharing, which is a sharing rule, Apex sharing. Right, this is the level of data access. The level of data access, it starts from the basic. First, it will be organization level setting, then it goes to the object level setting, then it goes to the field level security, then it goes to the record level security. In the record level security, based on the OWD is very basic, and then we have a role hierarchy, and then we have a manual sharing, and then we have automated sharing, then Apex sharing. Right, so this is the extending the access level of access that we are going to increase it.
Swapna, like for the field level security, you said profile, right?
Profile
So yeah, so and then there is a page layout as well, right? We hide a particular field on the profile. So is it a part of the security, or is
No,
it
no, it's
no,
not
right?
part of the security.
Okay.
Field level security, we have permission set also, we can.
Yes. So if anybody asks what are the level of security, just say that organization level, object level, field level, record level. Then the next question will come, what are the record level security? How can you share the record? Organization by default, role hierarchy, manual sharing, automated sharing, sharing rules, Apex sharing.
And Swapna, there is, I think, one more called as territory sharing as well, right? But
That is a different part.
so it's not part of this, no?
That is a different altogether. So territory is a different part. That is basically we need to see the org structure. But basic level is this one. So far in the security features, we have what we have seen: security overview. And also we have seen the license overview from the beginning. From the beginning, we have seen the license overview. And then we have seen profile overview. Profile overview. Within the profile overview, we have seen how to use of a profile. And what are the types of profile? We have seen what are the types of profile. And how to create a custom profile. How to create a custom profile. And then how to assign a profile to the user. This is the profile part. Then after that, we have seen the user. We have also seen the user management. In the user management, we have seen adding the new user. And we have seen editing the existing user. And then we have seen resetting the user. Resetting the user password. So how to reset the user password, and then how to prevent the user. Prevent the user. So basically deactivating the, how to deactivate. Deactivate the user. Or second one is freeze the user. How to freeze the user. This is the user management that we have seen. And the next one is, we have seen the role hierarchy. Role hierarchy. So in role hierarchy, what we have seen, overview of role hierarchy. Overview of role hierarchy. And then how to set up the role hierarchy, we have seen that. And once it is set up, then how to assign the role hierarchy, we have seen. And then after that, OWD. OWD is nothing but organization by default. So in OWD, we have seen the overview of OWD. And then what are the different OWD options we have seen? So options are private, public, read only, public, read write. So there are other things like a transfer, public read write transfer, public full access, no access, use, view, controlled by parent, everything we have seen. Then the third one, how to assign the OWD per object. Assign the OWD per object. We have seen this. And the next one, sharing settings. So in the sharing settings, we have seen different sharing settings. First, we have seen the overview of sharing. And types of sharing. In the types of sharing, the first one we have the manual sharing. And the second one is public groups. And the third one is automated sharing. And the fourth one, we just saw the scenario for the Apex sharing. So in manual sharing, we have seen how to share the record to the single user. And we have seen share the record to how to share the record to multiple user. Okay, and then in the public group, we have seen overview of public group. And creating a public group. And then how to share the record to the public group. How to share the record. Okay. Now automated sharing. In automated sharing, we have seen overview of sharing rule. Sharing rule. And also we have seen how to create sharing rule. And while creating the sharing rule, there are two options: owner based sharing, owner based sharing rule, and then criteria. Okay, so these are the options that we have seen so far on the security features. If there are any questions, just review previous sessions, but these are the topics that we have covered in security features.
Swapna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one doubt. Like in the sharing settings, okay, if you can you just go in the sharing settings, please?
Mhm.
Yeah, just click on the sharing settings again from the right, from the menu. Yeah, go down. I think you have to click edit, I guess. Yeah, click on the add. No, not here. On top, not here, not here. On the top.
You are
Yeah,
editing
this
the
one.
OWD.
Yeah.
It's not a
Edit.
sharing setting, it's a OWD.
OWD, yes. So can you go down? Yeah. So see here, other settings, we have this standard report visibility, manual user record sharing. What is this about?
Yeah, we will cover this tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, fine. Thanks.
Okay.
Swapna, manual sharing, how many records we have to share exactly?
Manual sharing, there is no limit on that.
Okay.
So that's
Automatic
if you are
sharing?
doing it more than 100 records, if you are doing the manual sharing, that means that's the reason we have to go with the public mode.
Okay, there is no limit for that?
I think there is no limit. Record sharing does not have any limit.
Okay.
Do you see anything record sharing?
No, I ask that question because I'm.
Swapna?
But for the each object level, there is a limit.
Okay.
Object level, you have a 300 sharing rules for each object.
For manual, all the.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, somebody is asking.
Yeah, Swapna, I mean, flow and process builder, these are completed in this
No,
class.
not yet. No, not yet.
It will take some time or tomorrow.
No, it takes time. We are coming step by step. Any other questions? Okay, so what are sharing rules?
Yeah, two
Manual
types
share,
of cell.
We can share
automation sharing.
record giving us some criteria or owner list using a sharing group.
Manual sharing, automate sharing, and Apex sharing.
What are different type of sharing rules? Type of sharing rules are owner based sharing rules,
Criteria based.
criteria based.
Criteria based.
So differences between the manual and automatic sharing in Salesforce. This is the interview question.
Manual is single and automatic is multiple based on owner or criteria.
Manual sharing is click button click sharing, but automatic it's a
Before
criteria.
manual sharing button, in automatic sharing, we go to sharing rules.
Right. So manual sharing is done through the sharing button. So we are granting the access to the specific user by clicking on the sharing button. Whereas automatic, we will predefine the rules. We will predefine the rules and criteria that is done through the sharing rule automatically. Explain the differences, different level of access that can be granted through the sharing rule in Salesforce. This is also interview question.
Organization level, object level, field level, and record level access.
No.
Explain the
No, no.
different level of access that can be granted through the sharing rule. Different
Read,
level
write.
of access.
Read, write, read only. So,
Read only, public.
Private.
private. Yeah.
Yeah. How to share all internal users whenever a criteria is met.
A share to is
Sharing
a
rules.
internal user.
Sharing,
All
sharing
internal.
rules.
Share to all internal users.
Sharing.
How to share a record with a single user through the sharing rule.
Public group with single user.
Public group by using the single user, we have to.
Yeah. Okay. So this question is roles. There is a different. What is the differences between the roles and sharing rule? So this is the interview question, role hierarchy and sharing rule. So what is the differences between the role hierarchy and sharing rule? So sharing rule is by using the sharing rule. If you want to give access to the other users, we use the sharing rule, right? Whereas the role hierarchy, it can be done through the visibility through the hierarchy level.
Sharing rule will widen up the access.
Yes. This is data visibility, dividing the access. Homework 1, configure a public group, Bangalore sales group by adding it to users, sales platform users. Who are the users you have with the profile called Salesforce platform user? So create this group, add the 2 users here. Homework 2, configure a OWD setting for the lead is a private. Configure sharing rule on the lead object to share the lead record to the Bangalore sales group. If the lead record meets the below condition, title equal to SVP operations, lead source equal to purchase list, lead status equal to open, not contacted, rating equal to warm. If these conditions are met, share to the Bangalore sales group. Homework 3, create a record by logging into the Salesforce platform user and create a lead record which qualifies the criteria homework 1. So what are the homework 1 is there? So this is the criteria. Sorry, homework 2. So what are these criteria is there? If this is meeting the criteria, then log in as a Salesforce platform user, they should be able to see the record and edit the record. And update the homework criteria to what are the criteria is available. Just add the lead primary equal to S and remove the lead title equal to SVP operations. And first check whether are you able to access the record or not. So you should, what are the existing records are there? The sharing should automatically remove because you are removing the one primary, you are removing the lead title and adding the primary. So if that condition is not matched, is the existing record, the criteria is automatically updated or not? So is the criteria, what are the sharing rule criteria is there? Based on the latest criteria, is the record sharing working or not? Just cross verify. Then click on the recalculate button. So this is the trial heads.
Swapna, can we have some more scenario-based questions on this? Because I think that is where they catch us, during interview. More.
So those are the one you can, if anybody has interview, anybody attended, they can add it.
Yeah, please share the